Hello and welcome to class activity number 19. So in this class activity, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to manage Windows servers remotely. What does that mean? That means if, let's say, you have several DNS server or DHCP servers all around your organization, there's different buildings all over, and you want to be able to aggregate all of these, let's say, DNS servers in one location and manage them from one platform. Let's say from the domain controller, you'll be able to make configuration to all of these DNS servers. You can assign this activity to one of your networking junior administrators. He's responsible for the DNS servers. So you can group all of these DNS servers from his PC, his or her PC, and they'll be able to manage them, all of them remotely. He or she does not have to go there to be able to make any configuration changes or anything like that. All right, so how do we do that? I want you to boot up the client server, just boot it up, and you don't have to log in. All right, so I did that. And I want you to boot up then the domain controller and log into it. All right. So once you do that, make sure you open up, of course, your class activity number 19. So when I ask you to take the screenshots, you'll be able to do that and put that at the bottom of your lab. All right. So once you have the domain controller open, I want you to open the server manager. That's where we're going to do our work. That's how we're going to set up the remote access. Now we are going to have access to the client server from here, of course, right? And we're going to make that server, we're going to install on that server from the domain controller, we're going to install a DNS. We're going to add the role DNS to the client server, right? So the client PC will be a DNS server, and we'll install it from here remotely. Okay? All right, so once we do that, we're going to click on all servers right here. And the only one we see is the domain controller. You see that? All right, so once we do that, we are going to go to, I don't have to do that. What am I doing? All right, we are going to go to Manage. So once you go to Manage, we're going to add roles and features. Okay. I was mistaken. You click on Manage once you get in here and go to Add Servers. Okay. So let's go Add Servers, and you click on Find Now. And we already have the DC. Let's bring the SRV, right? That's the client. Bring them over. You can bring both of them. I mean, I don't care, but we already have that. All right. So click OK. So let it come up. It's trying to add it remotely. All right. So the Windows activation is not active, but so what? But it's online, and that means we have access to it. It has the 192.168.10, right? So once you do that, take a picture of this, okay, and put it at the bottom of your lab. All right, so let's highlight it. And now we are going to go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. We're going to add DNS server to it remotely, right? All right, click on Next. It's going to be role-based. Click on Next. And select the server from the server pool. Of course, we want this one, right? Click on Next, the SRV one. All right, and I want you to click on DNS and click on Add Features. All right, take a picture of this because I want to make sure you got here. Remember, we're adding the DNS to the client, not the domain controller. The domain controller already have the DNS installed. Remember, when you install the Active Directory, you get the DNS automatically. All right, we don't have the Active Directory on the client. So we just want it to be a DNS server. All right, so once you take your picture, click on Next. All right, click on Next. We don't need to check anything here. Click on Next. And let it restart if it needs to. And click on Install. All right, let it do the installation. All right, so once the installation is complete, click on Close. All right, and it's good. So now you see right here the DNS has been installed. You can check to see that it's on the left-hand side right there. All right, so take a picture of that and put it at the bottom of the lab. All right, so now we have, if you click on the domain controller, you'll see that it has it's also a DNS. This one also has a DNS. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to group all the DNS servers, create a DNS group, right? So go to Manage and create a server group. Okay, and under the server group, I want the domain controller, move it over. The client, move that over. That's also going to be in the group. All right. Click OK. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't give it a name. Let's call it DNS underscore servers. All right, click on OK. And there's your DNS servers. So once you click on that, on your DNS servers, and there they are. There's 2 of them. You can manage them from here. So, okay, performance count is not managed. So you can actually click on this one right here and go to Tools and click on DNS, if you remember. All right, and so you see, let me see here. That's not looking at the SRV. Okay, that's not, let me see. All right, what you need to do, don't go to Tools DNS because that will just get you the DNS server for the domain control. So what you need to do is right-click on the server, the client, and go to DNS Manager. All right, and now you'll be able to manage both servers. So take a picture of that. I'll put that at the bottom of the screen. So you can actually go to the server 1 and look up zones, right? And you can create a lookup zone or a reverse zone. If you clicked on the domain controller and looked at the forward zone, you remember we did those, and you can expand this, and we did that, right? And on the lookup zones for the client, we don't have a new zone for it. So we can actually create one if you want to, but we're not going to do that. All right, so take a picture of that and put it at the bottom of the lab. So that's how you can manage. So now you have all the, the DNS servers. You can take care of all of them. All right, so that's that. So let's close that. And that's it really for this lab. Okay? So I'll see you on the next class activity.